Happy Friday, all. It is the 11th of April currently. A few days ago, I did another stream of Dark D82, and I was going to keep on pushing through that game, and then my internet died and it didn't come back again. And for the past several days since, my internet has been down probably at least a third of the time. It goes down and does not come back for hours. It does not come back for like most of the day. Last night, it went down at like 10:30, 11 p.m., and it did not come back for the rest of the night. I was going to stream last night, but yeah. So after chatting with Shaw support, which ended up leading to just unplug the router and plug it back in again, which is what previous Shaw support had said to do. And the first time it didn't work, this time it did for who knows how long. It just seems to kind of come on and off when it pleases. So I think that there's some more deeper seated issues. And if this stream randomly goes down, that's why. So I do not have the proper game capture setup right now. Probably America's fault. Yeah, probably is. They're terrifying our internet. That's what's going on here. Here, you'll be able to see the game again in a second. Also, I gotta boot up my thing for my camera here. So I was like, okay, I still don't think I completely trust the internet here. So what's a thing that I can stream that I don't think anybody is gonna mind if it randomly goes down? Oh, I know, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So that's kind of what led to the stream decision tonight. There's still other things that I haven't played for like a longer period of time that I want to get caught up on more, like Final Fantasy 7. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow night. But I'm not always by a save point in that game. At least a game like this I can save at any point. Like the internet dies, then I can just like save and like wrap things up and stuff. But if I'm doing something like Final Fantasy 7, who knows where the closest save point is. So I was like, let's not do that tonight. It's been over a month since I've streamed that game, but let's keep on holding off. Maybe I'll do it sometime on the weekend here. Honestly, with Elon and Internet Satellite Army, I actually would be surprised. I assume that wouldn't be surprised if it was America's fault. Yes, it probably is. I say as an American as well, Radora Master. Also, during some downtime here, during like spans of, hey, the internet's up for a little bit, the internet's down for a little bit, the internet's up for a little bit, the internet's down for a little bit. I've been chipping away at a few things, like a lot of things around the house here, like a bunch of gardening stuff. But in terms of stuff for the stream, I decided to chip away at an idea that I've been thinking about for a while. One of the complaints that people have had with my stream is that there's just not enough to use channel points on. Like, they can time themselves out. If there's a Pokemon playthrough or something, they can name a Pokemon. But there's not really much else here. Yeah, I guess it really wanted me to touch grass, so I spent a lot of time, like, outside and stuff and doing a bunch of stuff with plants. You know, it's not like there's really a garden to tend to, but I would spend a lot of time outside looking at my strawberry plant that I planted last year that's coming up and is all happy, healthy. Looking at my Haskaps that are starting to wake up for the year and stuff like that. Hello, Gearkoviak. Yeah, so I started working on a thing for channel points. I started trying to figure out how to set up this streamer bot thingamabob that, they all should work. I was testing them earlier today. I set up this bot here that allows me to set up point redemptions that will play sound effects. I can set like the sound that they play at, or like the volume that they play at. And I have a toggle that was a little bit trickier than I kind of hoped that would be at first, mostly with just like the Stream Deck plugin and stuff. I want it to be assigned to a button on my numpad, but it didn't really like that. It wanted me to like have it be control and a numpad button, or shift and a numpad button, and alt and a numpad button. I didn't really want that. Man, my browser's being laggy right now. But if I look at the thingamabob here, what is the go gambling? You get to choose a prediction thing. So before, some people have been like, hey, we should do a prediction about like whether this is gonna happen, or people will be like, oh, I don't think that Harmonia is gonna make it through this segment coming up here. I'll be like, want to start a prediction, and then people can like gamble their points on on like the outcome. And so I figured for like 10k points, people can just like choose a thing. I added a couple new rewards here. I figured like they can choose the prediction themselves, as long as it's not like a 100% chance, like this is the mass of a proton or something like that. You know, something that's not gonna, like something that's static. Can't do that. See the sort of thing in Doug's videos? What, going gambling? Or sound effects? But I set up 10 just to start out to like just kind of try things out and see if this is an idea that people like, a thing that can pick up and stuff. The predictions. Okay, yeah, we do them here from time to time as well. from time to time. Man, my browser's being laggy. So I have these 10 here. If it actually lets me scroll up a little bit, I probably have a whole bunch of tabs open. I probably need to close them, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla is probably not helping things. Here we go. That should be most of them on screen, probably. Scroll thing, darn you. Anyway, I rigged them all up with a 20-second cooldown, so, but that's individual. I don't know how to toggle, like, a global kind of thing, so if, say, Kaboom is played, then no one else can redeem Kaboom for, like, the next 20 seconds at least. Just so that no one can spam, like, the exact same thing over and over again and have it, like, stack upon itself, and then it just becomes, like, super annoying. And if anything, if it's ever a time in a game where it's, like, super serious story cutscene that I don't want to get interrupted, or people are taking the sound effects too much, I'm like, nope, your sound effect privileges are gone. Rather than just, like, turning off the sounds, and then people could still redeem it, but it doesn't play a sound, people are gonna feel ripped off. Oh, there's Kaboom. Kirkoviak redeemed. From Wind Waker. From, the guy when you're doing, like, the mini game where it's basically Battleship and you're clicking the tiles where you think the Kraken's at. And then he goes, sploosh, sploosh, kaboom! That's where that's from. It's from Wind Waker, is that sound effect. I didn't want to just mute the sound effects to turn it off, because then people could still redeem, and then they feel like their points are wasted. They've been ripped off. So, after a decent bit of work, I got working a button on my Stream Deck that I can hit, and it turns, it's gonna be really laggy here, just because that's the way my browser is right now, but it turns all of them off. Well, there we go, just with a little bit of lag. So, instead of it being a thing where it's like, now the sound effect doesn't play, you just don't see them there anymore. So if you go to, like, channel points, like, right now, to see, like, what kind of things you can redeem, those aren't there anymore. They're gone. I've completely taken away your option. Yeah, Stream Deck. It's a, I keep it on the top of my desktop. Buttons. Buttons that I can click. Just a way to basically have, like, more keyboard buttons that I can assign to anything. And they're all, like, little mini displays, so I can have, like, the name of the button on the button for whatever I want it to be, whatever icon I want it to be. And I click the button again, and then it's gonna be a little bit laggy, but then congrats, your sound effect privileges are back. So rigging up the sound effects on their own was not too bad. The thing that I had trouble with was rigging up, like, the on and off button. It would have been super easy to just rig up something that just mutes the sound effects. You can't,
Oh no!
you can't hear them anymore. But I don't want people, like, you know, redeeming something and then it goes to nothing. So I get the option completely taken away. So that's what I rigged up. The oh no from John Wildcat there. So we're gonna try it out. We're trying it out here. Like I said, I'm just kind of starting out with 10 sound effects for now, but I want to have, like, more ways that people can redeem their channel points in, like, an interactive way. But the reason why I never set that up before was because I was worried about, like, oh, what if it's a time that I really don't want sound effects to be playing, like a super serious moment or something like that, which I have a hard time seeing something like that coming up for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'll probably just keep them on throw, like, the whole playthrough at this game, because who knows what the hell is going on with the story here at this point. But I was worried about, like, stuff potentially being a little bit, like, annoying, repetitive, and getting in the way of, like, if there's actual serious story stuff that I want to pay attention to in a game. But, you know, cooldowns and toggling on and off, I think, would solve both of those issues. So we're trying it out. We're gonna see if it's something that people like and enjoy using. If so, we can kind of expand it in the future, kind of tweak it as need be, like, you know, potentially adjust prices. Like, is that too much? Should it be cheaper? Should there be more sound effects added? If so, what sound effects? The tracking got turned off on my camera. And maybe expanded in the future. So a little bit of an experimental phase. And I also added, like, the new point redemptions of, you know, create a poll, and that you can kind of put it to the chat of, what do you think about this thing? And then people can vote on the options. Like, you can make the poll, and then I'll, like, rig it up. And then, like, the super expensive one is, Go Gambling, where it's like, you start a prediction, and hey, maybe you'll make back more than 10k if you just gamble a whole bunch, and then you're right about your prediction. And it is possible I might have to tweak that one, because even if I say, hey, you can't do something that's static, I have a feeling that people might also rig up something that is, like, extremely, extremely likely to happen, and then just, like, farm channel points off of it. So, but this should hopefully squash the dissent of all the naysayers about the, great point drought of Ghost of Tsushima, that happened. All the people that are like, Man, all my channel points are gone. I redeemed it all on this stupid horse that didn't even stick around. You know, that whole channel point drought from the Ghost of Tsushima playthrough. Um, you know, an opportunity to make it back. But we'll see how it's used and if it needs adjustment in the future, because it could potentially be a highly abusable system. And another one that I was thinking about doing that I did end up adding, you can still time yourself out for 10 minutes for 2,500 points. But now you can also time someone else out for 10 minutes for 7,500 points. So like 3 times the cost. And it's like, I know that's a lot of channel points, but like a lot of people also have a lot of channel points. So like, how much of an unreasonable amount is that? Also, are people going to start farming channel points with like the go gambling thing? So it's experimental. I might change things later. I was thinking about for timing other people out that I could have it be like a lesser amount at first in terms of like how long they're timed out for. So if someone is timed out against their will, they're not just like sitting around for a full 10 minutes. It could be something like 5 minutes. But if I click the timeout button by someone's name, it defaults to 10 minutes. I can time out people for however many seconds I want. But I have to do like /timeout, this person's name, and then the amount of seconds. And it's just kind of annoying, and I'm a lazy bastard, so for now it's time someone else out for 10 minutes, because if I set it up a different way, I'm going to need to you know, manually type it in each time. So yeah. All right, guys, remember the first rule of comedy: timing. Absolutely. The tragedy in time is the first rule of comedy. Who cares about story when the last time this was streamed we vented about Minecraft featuring Jack Black saying things like they're anime attacks? Which, the things that he says like anime attacks are some of the things I was thinking about adding as sound effects. Again, I just kind of want to start with like a small handful, but if people like it and I want to expand it, then I might add things like flint and steel. I could potentially add something like chicken jockey, but I have a feeling like that it's gonna contribute to too much brain rot. Like, at least flint and steel is niche enough, right? I've seen the clips of how crazy audiences get over chicken jockey, and chicken jockey is a no-go. Yeah, that's what I was thinking here. But yeah, channel point farmers beware. All these points I have come from years of honest dedication. No gambling involved. So I can mute the entire chat right now. Yeah, you can silence everybody by redeeming to time everybody out. Oh, maybe I should put a cooldown on the time someone else out for 10 minutes to avoid situations like that, where it's like, there's a 10-minute cooldown on any redemption of that. So there can only be a maximum of 1 person at a time that is timed out by another viewer. And then is someone just silencing all the haters. It's for the rich. The rich will get richer while the poor will get slightly richer. Exactly. Could literally temp ban everyone in chat and probably every follower. 594k points have so much power with these changes. Yeah, I want to put in changes where people actually can do things with their points instead of it just being like, yeah, you can name Pokemon when I, like, do Pokemon playthroughs or time yourself out. And that was pretty much it. I want to have, like, more stuff here. Why is Chicken Jockey such a craze? I don't know. I get I'm Steve, but not Chicken Jockey. I think the reason why that one took off as much as it has is because everyone realizes that it's just, like, the stupidest shit. So it's the funniest thing to, like, pretend is, like, the greatest thing ever. And, like, oh my god, this is so amazing when everyone collectively realizes this is so dumb. And they literally just put it in the movie because they thought that little kids would get a kick out of it. What I would assume here. But yeah, my game testing skills prove useful in the stream chat. Yeah, absolutely think about, like, the limits that you can push things. You still call the wolf in this game after the dog from the Minecraft movie? What was it again? Dennis? Yeah, I can call Dennis and stuff. I've changed my mind. We can go ride Dennis. That also, thinking about Dennis also reminded me about, whoops. No. Thinking about Dennis reminded me there was one more thing that I did like about the Minecraft movie. I was listing during the last stream the small handful of things that I actually got a kick out of. There was one more thing that I remembered recently that I didn't remember at first because it was during, like, the crazy rapid fire sequence at the beginning. But I liked the bit where Jack Black was describing his friendship with Dennis, and Jack Black runs and jumps into the air, and Dennis throws the frisbee, and then Jack Black catches it in his mouth. That one was actually a really funny joke in terms of, like, subverting expectations, like doing the complete opposite of norms. That one actually got me. Yeah, that was a thing that happened there. I remember my cousin's older kid. He really laughed at that one as well. I got a good kick out of that one. Um, yeah, there were some good visual gags in there. Visual gags like that and gags that are funny when you piece together what it actually means. Like when Henry is like, "Hey, can you pretend to be my uncle?" And
I
Jason
want to
Momoa
see
is
the
like,
lion.
"Sorry, kid, I don't do that anymore." You know, where it makes you think like, "Wait, that was a thing that I used to do." Like just the putting pieces together kind of humor. I like that. Um, and then there's a pig ass. What? Where do I want to go today? 190, 310, 250? Probably the 190 then, right? Probably
Mr.
makes the most
Chilbert
sense.
has traveled to Shropshire.
Oh,
Yes,
there's actually
into
going
a
to be a
difficult
character that comes
situation.
back.
The Shire has been mired in
Instead
a
of
long
all
war
the
with
characters
Roses,
just being,
King of
like,
the Britons.
gone forever after you
Chilbert
get the
hopes to
friendship
negotiate
and
a
stuff.
peace with the Britons of the
Hey, at
West.
least there's, like,
A difficult task for
longer
one
term
so
implications then.
I hope your tutelage has prepared
Okay.
you well.
Indeed. But I think it's
So,
best
I
if you
mean-
supervise these talks. If Chilbert can make this work, we will gain a valuable alliance.
Okay, yeah, I'll pledge to that. Also, there was a witch in the nether in the movie. I wasn't in the cinema to watch a Minecraft movie, but my younger brother was, and he said he dislikes some sort of witch in the nether.
make
Yeah,
my
the main
way to
antagonist is
Shropshire.
basically like a
I
nether
believe
piglin witch,
He and
essentially.
Ingvar should be in
And she was
contact now.
scary, I
You will
suppose. Oh,
find it along the Effen Hafun River.
If
Well.
Ingvar is with him, I will certainly be needed.
oh yeah, stuff like that absolutely demolishes a villager with the car. Oh god, not again. Yeah, the stuff that implies other stuff that has previously happened. Those kinds of gags, I think, are genuinely funny. I really like when media does that kind of stuff where it just makes you laugh at, you know, the absurdity of something really absurd happening multiple times. I guess we're going to go do War of the Weary tonight, unless my internet dies. War of the Weary is going to be our storyline we see through this stream. Oh, Malgasha emphasized the L was not scary at all. She was just Gul'dan, but worse. Yeah, I guess it could potentially be scary for, like, a really young kiddo if your sibling's really young. Potentially. Alright, let's call Dennis. You see the influence this stupid movie is having on my playthroughs here? For the record, when the day comes that I do adopt a doggy again, like, my search efforts nowadays have been, like, a lot more prioritized on, like, finding a job and finding a car before the market becomes, like, so much worse with all the stuff going on in the States. So finding a doggy hasn't been as high on my priority list lately, but one of these days when I do adopt a dog, it is gonna happen. The dog is not getting named Dennis. I can call the in-game wolf here Dennis is like a meme and reference that movie, but in terms of like an actual major life partner, yeah, no, I'm not not going to not gonna be calling them a meme name. I'll pass on that front. Gotta have a nice name for an adopted doggy. All right, find and speak with Chilbert, as they call him. Potford is in Shropshire. It can be found between two lakes along the Affen Hafren River. The man behind the slaughter, Affen. But yeah, let's see here. And the influence of your 5k channel points. Thinking about what can be done. Also, as much as the villager-human romance horrified me, the woman just absolutely demolished that villager with the car. Is one of the funniest scenes in the movie. But yeah, best names are the ones you come up with on the car ride home with him. Yeah, I could absolutely do that approach. That was what happened with Jesse, although it was my my mom that came up with Jesse's name. I named the first doggy of the family. Well, in terms of me being around, like my parents had doggies like way before I was ever around. But Jesse was my mom's idea. But the next name will be my idea. That's how I named Henry and the kittens. Nice. Imagine calling your child Sans Undertale. Man. With, what was I to see here? Oh, yeah. When it comes to doggies and stuff, the neighbors next door recently got a foster puppy through a rescue organization that I have, like, chatted with and seen stuff about in terms of, like, rescue dogs that they have. So, like, I've heard about them before. I've been at their events. Apparently, they have an event tomorrow, and I would very much like to go, but I don't think I can because I have to go buy fruit tree sticks tomorrow. Yeah, we found between... Yeah, I'm here, but, like, Mr. Guy is around here somewhere. But anyway, I was looking over the fence and, like, chatting with one of them while they were barbecuing. So they have their dog that they've had around for a while, and I don't know the new neighbors too well yet. Like, I knew the previous neighbors that were in there very well, since I was, like, doing driving practice with both of his daughters because they needed a manual to automatic to practice on, since the tests are a lot more lenient if you're driving a manual or an automatic rather than a manual like they had. So I knew the neighbors next door pretty well for a while. They moved out last year and new neighbors moved in. I chatted with them once briefly last summer, and then I chatted with them a little bit yesterday. So, like, we know of each other. We don't know one another super well here yet. Seem like nice people. But they've had a doggy around for a while, but they recently had a new pupper, and so I was asking about that, and that's when they said that he was a foster, and that they're going to an adoption event tomorrow, hoping to find like a forever home. He's 4 months old. He looks kind of like something like a shepherd mix. He's kind of brownish orangey, something like that. He's got big paws. He's gonna be a big doggy, and you know, very much puppy energy. He was running around the yard with the other doggy. It was really cute to see. All puppers are really cute. There's hustle and bustle going on around here, so is Mr. Dude over here somewhere? Anyway, so it was really cute, like, looking over the fence and seeing the doggies running around and the puppy just being a puppy and stuff. Was super cute. But yeah, so, foster that's looking for a forever home. I don't know if I'd be adopting him because I like kind of medium-sized dogs, you know? Kind of like collies, like border collies, for example, you know? Medium to medium large, not exactly huge dogs. I think he's gonna be a huge dog when he grows up, most likely. But otherwise, he seems like really sweet and nice, you know? Is map in this game big? Yes. Not as big as Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I don't think. But it's pretty big. Border Collie is essentially a sheepdog. Black and white dogs that were selectively bred over generations to be, like, sheepdog, cattle dogs, stuff like that. Yeah, this is England here. So Jessie, for example, was originally going to be a sheepdog on the farm that she was born on. But according to the previous owners, she was apparently afraid of the cows. So, like, they didn't want to raise her as a sheepdog, and they put her up for adoption, and she came into our family when she was 4 months old. So, like, the same age as the puppy next door right now. And, you know, she, was very, very nervous around people at first, you know, very much secluded, not really trusting of people. There was very much like a sadness in her eyes when we adopted her. So the whole afraid of cows kind of thing, I feel like probably wasn't the entire truth, and that she had probably gone through some sort of trauma in the place that she was born. And, like, there was a lot of things that she was never able to get over that were just, like, deep-seated trauma, like people putting their face in her face. She never liked that. Even with, like, her close family, she did not exactly like that. So there were some things that were very ingrained there from probably traumatic for several months of life and all of that. But had a very loving home here and stuff. Yeah, like, for me, it feels like it was just yesterday, and at the same time, it feels like it was forever ago. Like, I've kind of gotten used to life without a dog around now, as sad as it is to say that. Like, it's definitely been difficult here. And I think Border Collie is my favorite dog breed, but they're also just such high energy. Like, Border Collie is probably, like, one of the highest energy dog breeds. They're probably the smartest dog breed, I would argue. You need to, like, stimulate them both physically and mentally. So you need to be giving them, like, puzzles to solve and stuff like that. And we gave Jessie a lot of puzzles to solve growing up. But she would need to be walked every day, like, in her younger years, not in her older years, where she needed to take it easier. In her younger years, I used to go to the park with her every single day with a ball thrower that I just whip as far as possible, and she just zoomed so fast. There was times growing up where my dad would drive his quad on the lake when it was frozen in wintertime, with me and a sled behind that's, like, attached by a rope to the quad, so he's pulling me on the ice. And Jessie would be running, like, somewhat nearby, like, full speed, like, fully keeping up with, like, the quad speed. Like, she was fast. Probably one of the fastest dogs I've ever seen. Like, and Border Collies love that kind of thing. But Border Collies are very, very high maintenance dogs. You need to be walking them every single day. If you're not, like, really, really exercising them on that walk, you're gonna need to be walking them multiple times a day. You're gonna need to give them, like, regular mental stimulation. So I definitely wouldn't mind a dog that's on the smarter side, like maybe Border Collie mixed with something else, or, you know, just kind of something in that kind of range. Or just, you know, something even without Border Collie in the mix. I've only had Border Collies before. My first dog, Oreo, was a border collie, who unfortunately only lived to be 3 with the liver failure and stuff. And then Jesse, another purebred border collie. Like, I'm very used to high maintenance doggies, but it's like I'm now in adult life. I have other stuff to do. I can't exactly just be coming home from school, go take the doggy out on like a crazy rip, and then come home, do my homework, have dinner, go to taekwondo, go to bed. There's other stuff that I gotta do nowadays, especially once I start working full time. So a purebred border collie might be a little bit outside of my scope of commitment nowadays, unlike growing up. But I wouldn't mind something in that range, is what I definitely wouldn't mind. Never get over how so much of the villain plot of the Minecraft movie is literally just ripped from Warcraft. I'm gonna have to rewatch Warcraft one of these days. But yeah, sheepdog that has its eyes all covered? Not exactly. I mean, there are definitely some, like, pretty long-haired border collies. There's some short-haired ones as well. Jesse was a short-haired one. A border collie that I've dog sat here on the channel before, Lily, a friend's border collie, is a pretty long-haired border collie. Yeah, so Jesse was my last dog who passed away at the end of 2023. Yeah, I got the feeling Brianni's first cat died only a few months ago. I'm sorry to hear that. Still see him in the corner of my eye, even with the kittens. Yeah, there's still a lot of times that, like, I'll think and dream about Jesse still being around, and then wake up and it's like, oh, yeah, that's not the case. But yeah, okay, Brian, I got you. Not Brianny. What's wrong with Brianny?
Not half bad, boy. But be fierce, dirty.
We actually are gonna have some characters that come back,
Are you training the
instead of
boy
everything
or
being completely
tormenting him?
disconnected.
One will lead to the other in time.
Eivor, well met. You received my message, and just in time. Our negotiations with the Britons have not yet begun.
I will be at your side when they do. Is there anything I should know first?
The venerable King Rodri is here. I'm to deal with him directly.
Rodri is desperate for peace, ever since we captured his sniveling brother Goriad. Sounds like a man coughing up snot. Goriad ap Mervin.
Rodri waits at the church nearby.
Who speaks for Shropshire in these talks?
The last alderman was killed in battle. Bishop Deolov is standing in.
Until we get this wet whelp installed. That is his father's wish.
I find the idea of leading a shire on my own quite terrifying.
Watch out for Ivar, I don't know.
I will toughen you up, but watch your back. He's a wily one.
It is always the same with me, boy. When things get too quiet, I throw daggers.
I'll be on my guard.
As future Elderman, you should speak in the talks as well. But with humility. Rodri is the king, and will expect to be treated as one.
Rodri will want us to get down on our knees and sniff the rosy wind blowing from his ass. I know the man.
You've met him.
Met him, fought him. He gave me this nick here. Maybe I can give him one back. Remind him some call me King Killer.
It may be you should stay behind, Ivar. That is not a recipe for a good parley.
I'd like you both to be there. To guide me, to judge my fitness.
Give us your word, then. Your blade stays in its sheath.
Eivor, don't make me laugh. We both know what my word is worth. But sure, I will let you do the talking. Probably.
Excellent. Now, to the church, I think. Our guests await.